My social action project was on the Homeless World Cup. What it's all about. The Homeless World Cup is a unique organization that uses soccer to inspire homeless people to change their own lives. The annual event celebrates the nonstop work of various homeless teams along with the social organizations supporting them through an international soccer tournament. However, the Homeless World Cup is comprised of much more than this single occasion. And the 2015 Homeless World Cup took place in Amsterdam, but this year's event is being held in Glasgow, Scotland. So, what the Homeless World Cup does. The Homeless World Cup Foundation works with 73 national partners and other institutions in an attempt to terminate homelessness, an epidemic victimizing people worldwide. It conducts research and shares good practices related to facing the challenges of homelessness, but overall it acts as a global advocate for those in society who lack a voice, the homeless and socially disadvantaged. The incessant work of the Foundation and its national partners is showcased on an international stage during the annual tournament. Also, the Homeless World Cup has created its own supporters club to encourage support from not only all of its patrons, but also those who are not involved in the movement. And in the picture on the right, the 51 nations participating in the Homeless World Cup in Glasgow this year are being presented. And there's a link in the bottom right, and this link is to a PDF file that has a graphic that illustrates all 73 of the national partners along with the Homeless World Cup's mission and goals. So homelessness is everywhere we look. In order for us to fight homelessness sufficiently, we must be able to identify it in both our own communities and beyond. Unfortunately, this is not too difficult as homelessness plagues countries all over the world. In fact, about 100 million people suffer from homelessness worldwide, while an estimated 1.6 billion lack adequate housing. Each country has its own unique homeless situation, so below are some details about 3 culturally different nations that participate in the Homeless World Cup. The first is this year's host country, Scotland. Homelessness in Scotland has decreased by 34%, now at a total of 36,457 households that have been evicted. Young people under 25 represent a third of the homeless population. However, in recent years, homelessness applications fell as a result of homelessness prevention services rather than a change in the underlying social and economic factors that lead to homelessness. Next is Nigeria, and there are an estimated 24.4 million homeless people in Nigeria. This is a consequence of many factors, including rapid urbanization, poverty, and most recently the terror caused by certain terrorist groups. And last but not least, the United States of America. On one night in January 2013, there was a recorded 610,042 people experiencing homelessness. However, homelessness has declined by 9% since 2007. The total number of homeless citizens fluctuates from 1.6 to 3.5 million, and in 2013 there were 2,483,539 children who had faced homelessness. Like I said, these are only 3 of the Homeless World Cup's 73 national partners, so if you're curious about other countries, you can go on the Homeless World Cup's website. So why does homelessness even exist? As we all know, the condition of homelessness is an undesirable one, yet we encounter its victims all the time. In fact, the founder of the organization, Mel Young, declares, "The ultimate aim of the Homeless World Cup is not to exist, because we shouldn't have to have a Homeless World Cup in the first place, because there shouldn't be any homelessness." Now this makes sense. So the question now is, how does this detrimental problem arise in society in the first place? So here are the main causes of homelessness. Although every homeless person has different situations, experiences, and relationships that build his or her unique story, there are some typical causes of homelessness. The first being lack of affordable housing. It is extremely challenging for people who earn low incomes to buy houses, let alone pay them off. Next is declining public assistance. Unfortunately, people who yearn for federal support are getting less and less of it nowadays. While these struggling homeowners' paychecks are shrinking, their rent fees are growing rapidly. Numerous people are in dire need of housing assistance, but they rarely receive it quickly because they are placed on long waiting lists. Fewer work opportunities. Many people battle poverty because of diminishing work opportunities. Incomes are falling, and steady occupations are becoming progressively scarce. As a result, low-income workers are left behind as the disparity between the rich and the poor increases. Next, we have domestic violence. Oftentimes, victims of domestic violence are given the choice either to stay in a home with their abuser or find somewhere else to live. Health issues. Many mentally ill homeless people are unable to obtain access to supportive housing and/or other treatment services. The mental health support services most needed include case management, housing, and treatment. Also, it is quite difficult for the physically disabled or unhealthy to maintain a home because they have to pay for medical bills along with other essentials such as food, education, and clothes. And lastly, addiction. Drug addicts often spend a large portion of their money on drugs, dragging them into poverty and later homelessness. Aside from that, addiction has the ability to tear families apart to the point where the addict has no one willing to support him or her during their struggle. So, what's being done today, aside from the Homeless World Cup? There are multiple nonprofit organizations in the U.S. working against homelessness too. These organizations thrust the injustice of homelessness into the public's attention and perform various charitable acts for homeless men and women. The next slide will provide examples of 3 such nonprofits you may have never heard of. The first is Mission and Citrus. Mission and Citrus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization located in Florida that aims to help the homeless to the best of its ability. The mission provides basic and self-care supplies, free health care, housing and supportive services for the homeless veterans that are the hardest to reach. The mission also provides referrals to other community agencies, such as child care providers and legal aid. This organization operates 3 shelters located in Crystal River and Inverness, Florida. The mission in Citrus strives to help all in need, regardless of their faith or lack thereof. They encourage, teach, and preach the gospel, yet they don't force religion upon anyone. And a little fact, the founder himself was once homeless, so he more than anyone is capable of sympathizing with those he helps. Next, we have Shelter Partnership, and this is a non-profit organization working with others to solve homelessness in Los Angeles County through policy analysis, program design, resource development, and advocacy in support of agencies and local government that serve the homeless. The Shelter Partnership makes a difference in the lives of the homeless through the following good deeds: providing technical assistance to community-based organizations and public agencies, conducting research and publishing analytical studies to inform public policy, promoting community education, and soliciting large-scale donations of merchandise and ensuring that these items are delivered to the people and agencies who need them. And lastly, Chicago Coalition for the Homeless. And this nonprofit organizes and advocates to prevent and end homelessness based on the belief that housing is a human right in a just society. The organization leads strategic campaigns, community outreach, and public policy initiatives that target the lack of affordable housing in metropolitan Chicago and across Illinois. In addition, CCH presses for access to jobs, training, and public schools. Its community organizers, policy specialists, and public interest attorneys advocate with people hurt by homelessness, including mothers with children, students, unaccompanied youth, ex-offenders, prostitution survivors, and low-wage workers. So those are just a few of some really good nonprofit organizations battling homelessness. So what can we do? Even though homelessness is a global problem, we as individuals can still help to stop it. starting in our own communities. There are countless acts of charity we can perform to help those who suffer from homelessness, and there are also numerous methods of quelling the root causes of this injustice. Here are some ideas. We can create and/or sign petitions. This is an excellent way to push an issue towards the front of a government's agenda, whether it be local or state. Petitions would expose the many moral and social infractions that homelessness entails. You can create your own petition to help spread the word about homelessness, or you can sign one of the many petitions found on websites like www.care.org. You can also organize events and fundraisers that raise both money and awareness for this cause. For example, 5K runs are a great way to get a bunch of people united against homelessness and the injustices allowed by government programs. These runs are not only good for staying in shape, but they help inform and inspire others to make a change in their own communities. Next, you can write letters to government officials. The men and women who represent us may be unaware of the severity of homelessness and the detrimental effects it has on our society. Letters will enlighten the government officials so that they will begin to identify the rampant cases of homelessness surrounding them and their people and be more willing to help by changing their policy. And many of you already volunteer at Room in the Inn, and also you should get to know your local contributor vendors. So what impact does the Homeless World Cup have on those involved? Well, homelessness can lead people into the depths of isolation and despair, hindering their social skills altogether. However, simply playing soccer can help fix many of these problems, believe it or not. When a homeless person gets involved in soccer, they build relationships. They become teammates who learn to trust and share. They have a responsibility to attend training sessions and games, to be on time, and to be prepared to participate. They feel that they are part of something larger than themselves and are encouraged to change their lives for the better. And a survey of the Homeless World Cup players showed that 94% say that the Homeless World Cup positively impacted their lives, 83% improved social relations with family and friends, 77% changed their lives significantly because of their involvement with football or soccer, and 71% continue to play the sport. So here are a few quotes that I thought were cool. And the first comes from Jamie Hepburn, Minister for Sport in Scotland. He says, "The Homeless World Cup teaches us about the power of sport to bring people together and change lives for the better. Every one of the players will have a powerful story. Many of them have experienced real hardship, but all are on the path to a more positive future. And it's inspirational to see the role that sport is playing in their lives." And Dominicus Hangara, who is a participant, states, "People told me, stop playing. Football won't get you anywhere. And look where I am now." And the last quote comes from James Trainer, who is also a participant. He said, "I got back into football slowly and began to feel I was part of something. I started to believe in myself, understand myself as a person, because I'd been living my life as if it was all about me." So, to sum things up, soccer is a universal language whose power unites every corner of the globe. The Homeless World Cup utilizes this power to inspire homeless people to change their lives forever. Needless to say, the Homeless World Cup Foundation is a wonderful organization. However, we must all work to terminate it by putting an end to homelessness. If everyone strives to contribute even in the smallest way, we can make a massive change in the world. That's such a beautiful animation. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Thanks, guys.